Hello everyone, welcome to the FlyForm podcast. I'm Nick and I'm the operations manager here at FlyForm.
Hello, I'm Ethan. I'm a technical consultant here at FlyForm.
Hi, I'm James. I'm a technical consultant at FlyForm.
So, on today's podcast, we are going to chat about the FlyForm Academy, which is an amazing scheme that was set up by Phil and Aaron, the co-founders of the company, back around about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Which we're looking just to give an amazing opportunity to young people in the South Wales area where they could come in and learn new skills within the ServiceNow industry. And part of my job is to kind of help nurture and develop that graduate FlyForm Academy, if you like. As it stands, we put around about 7 people through the scheme. 2 have kind of qualified and moved on to become fully fledged tech consultants. Ethan is a shining example of that. And we got James here, who's one of the guys in progress at the moment, and he's looking to perhaps progress in the next few months, depending on behaviour and other kind of
Hopefully soon.
issues.
If he's a good boy, yeah.
If he's a good boy, yeah. So casting your mind back now to 2 years ago, Heath.
Yeah.
When you first joined the scheme.
Yeah.
Talk us through the kind of process you went through from the very first moment where you seen the job advert to the day you walked in to the doors.
Yeah, so this is my first job straight after uni. So I graduated in 2018 from Swansea University and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I got kind of wind of this opportunity. It was more of kind of, I wasn't really focused on going into IT on, just as itself. It was more always going to be programming based. And then I thought I'd try it. Started a great company, especially, here and there was founded by 2 people from the valleys, and seemed very relatable. And then I came off an interview, and Phil and Aaron interviewed me when I first came in, which was really good, and it was quite a long interview. And we just, got on really well, and it got a really good vibe, and very personal, not very corporate, very just relatable. And then from there, I got an offer the same day as I was traveling back, and I accepted, and then started the following month, and haven't looked back since. Yeah,
good stuff. So very exciting time then.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you feel like when you first day, just before you walked through the doors? Nervous or
Yeah, definitely.
excited due to what the impression that Phil and Aaron gave to you and whatever they said about the company?
I was excited, nervous, but not to the extent where you're scared to ask questions or scared to try things. And it was always a very relaxed environment. It was always support to lean on. Everyone was super friendly when I first came, and that's one of our cultural values, isn't it? To help other people and to make sure that whenever someone's got a question, you can lean on their experience, whether they're permanent contract or wherever. And that was the same from day one. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking because it was my first proper job. Start of my career and of being a professional, as they say, young professional. Although that's debatable.
Well, anyway.
Really good vibes. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. What are you, James? Talk us through your
Well, it's
first
actually
few months.
quite a similar story. Got my degree, came out of Swansea University, looked around for 3 jobs, and eventually got wind of FlyForm, checked them out on LinkedIn and all that. They looked really good, so got an interview, came in to see Aaron and Phil, had a really long, about 2-hour chat with them, and it felt more like a chat than an interview because they were just so informal and relaxed. And yeah, I learned a lot about the company and just decided to go straight for it. I tried to cancel like every other interview I had because as soon as they offered me the job, I was just like, yeah, this is the place I want to work. And came in, started training, learned a lot from Ethan here. Just nagged him, asking questions for days and days, and yeah.
Okay, so one of the things kind of we pride ourselves on here at FlyForm is the uniqueness of the company in terms of our culture, our values, etc.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously got friends who have graduated from uni the same time as you, who've moved into other jobs. Kind of when you chat to them, how does it relate to the kind of jobs they've gone into and where their careers are going?
Yeah, well, I think the simple answer to that is most of my friends, a lot of my friends and family follow FlyForm on Instagram, right? Because they want to see what I'm up to. They want to see what the company's up to, and they know that it's such a kind of good vibe and a strong culture here that they can relate to that, even though they're not in the industry, even though they're not working for the company, but they still want to be involved somehow and follow and post on LinkedIn or whatever. And if I compare that to what my like the companies my friends are at now, who I went to uni with, or my friends from school, it's a lot more corporate, it's a lot more rigid, it's a lot more old school, if you will, traditional. Not to say that those things are not important, but it's the way you go about doing it and the way you implement the things. And I think it's done in a way here where it's very personable, and it's a people business, really. This FlyForm, people are at the center of what we do. It's essentially our USP, our culture, right? It's how we market ourselves, it's how we sell ourselves, and it's how we deliver the best for our customers as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree there, because the main differentiator for me is that a lot of my friends joined quite large companies, sort of like hundreds of people sort of ones, and we're only like 40 people or close to that, and it's a quite tight-knit, close community. We do a lot of charitable events to support local charities in the Cardiff area. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a bit of a kind of cliche thing, but it's the FlyForm family we talk about all the time. Where there's no kind of like, I've worked in places before where there's a big kind of gap between the lower kind of employees of the company in terms of the juniors, etc., to the management, and there's like a lot of red tape to get through to talk to these people. Whereas everything's an open door, isn't it? I find it's you can approach anyone. There's no kind of like no one's closed off. You can chat to anyone anytime you want. Everyone's open and free for kind of like to help each other. So that's what I would go with that.
And for me, there's not a day that goes by in the office where I'm not laughing, or I'm not joking with someone, or there's not something to just remind you that everyone's human and everyone's here to to make everyone's here to work, but small things you do to make the day go by quicker. Whereas that jokes, having banter with people, it's just, and that's ingrained in what we do.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Everyone's involved with it.
Definitely, I think, and Phil and Aaron epitomise that, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
They're always coming across with us, having a crack with us, having jokes, etc. And I think the managed service team, where obviously you guys kind of have gone through in terms of your development, that's a constant kind of fun place to be, isn't it? It's always laughing and joking. I know you've got to balance it off with hard work and getting the job done, but I think the balance is there in terms of, like you said, the banter and the crack that we have. But yeah, I'm happy to know I can chat to Phil and Aaron, have a joke with them. I think you guys are the same with me. There are occasions where James crosses a line and goes too far, but that happens. But yeah, I think that's really the key for me in terms of the environment and how fun it is to be part of.
Yeah, but I feel like there's probably very few companies where I can just stroll up to the COO or the CEO of the company and just chat rubbish with them for a half hour in the morning or 20 minutes in the morning, have a good laugh throughout the day, or they come over to our desk and managed service, have a bit of banter with us, joke about things, chat about football, chat about anything, and just like that, just very personable, easy to approach. There's no egos here.
No, definitely not. I think that goes just not for management as well, but for other people who come down, because a lot of people work remotely.
Yeah.
But you find they come into the office and bang, it's just like as if you know each other, like best friends, that kind of thing, and there's no kind of barriers to break down. Everyone's friendly. Everyone just enjoys being part of the FlyForm experience.
Yeah, and like I think that probably even surprises some people when they first come, like people who have traditionally worked in environments where that's not the case, and they come here and like everyone's friendly, everyone's personable, and then you see them getting involved on team events, then jumping into things head first, getting involved in runs or wherever, or charity events, and like that doesn't come. You can't force that, right? That everyone, it's a choice to come to a team event. It's a choice to do this, and like everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to spend as much time with each other as they can, out, in work and outside work. We go for drinks, most every other Friday. Managed service team, some of the TCs as well. Everyone's integrated in some sort of way. So
if you go back to what we said earlier, obviously East, you're a shining example of our FlyForm Academy. You and Jess, you've moved into pastures new in terms of your progress and promotions, etc. So can you talk us through like the path you followed and how the role evolved, and talk us through where you are now? Yeah,
well, obviously I joined the company when it was still quite young. When I joined, it was just me and Jesse on the graduate. Well, Jesse had been on the graduate program for probably a few months before me, 3 months I think, and then I joined. But it was just me and him on it, and it started off, just learn the ropes and training, stuff like that. Learning about the platform, service now, that kind of stuff, gaining confidence, picking everyone's brains, and then moved on to managed service kind of stuff. So some of our clients providing day-to-day support, like the guys do now on the managed service desk. I did that for a few months, and then I was lucky to be involved in project work quite early on in my development, because it needed to be. we didn't have the luxury of picking and choosing who got involved. So I got given the opportunity to to jump into things head first essentially, and which I liked, and I worked on projects probably maybe 2 months, 3 months into my development, and then kind of haven't looked back since really, and been on loads of projects since then. Been given loads of opportunities to attend workshops, lead workshops, and even follow deliveries through, as the lead consultant from start to finish. So if I look back, compared to what I was doing even 6 to 8 months ago compared to now, it's a world of difference. It's quite scary how fast you can progress with, if you've got the right mindset and you got given the right opportunities as well. And definitely, there's no shortage of trust and opportunities here for you.
Okay, so you talked about experiences, etc., within the role you've had. So I know one of them was recently has been like working in an area whereby the company we were working for was looking to get people into work, so focusing on young people and how ServiceNow can help them get into a work environment. Yeah,
that was a really special one really, because traditionally it's all been ITSM, a bit of ITOM, your traditional IT processes, whereas this one was bespoke and it had a lot of social responsibility right behind it. Like you said, the idea of getting young adults into work who might normally not get a job after school, after college, after university, or I've certainly been there where I got rejected quite a few times after university for jobs. It's not all golden. It is hard, and to come to work for a project where the main goal is to get people employable straight away, it was really special. And I also got the opportunity then to sit on a panel. I don't know why they chose me, but here's what it is.
You are the face of the FlyForm.
Unfortunately.
When James grows up, he'll be the face.
When
he gets past 20.
Graduate.
Once James goes and beard first.
Not a chance.
10 years. But I got invited to sit on a panel with a bunch of other TCs and senior TCs, from different companies, and we got to chat to these young people who are going to be going on this journey to employment, and they asking us questions, what it's like to work in IT. Whether one good question was like, someone was asking whether it's intimidating to come into an IT environment, which it is. It can be. There's other people who know more than you, but to be able to give a bit of advice back on how to deal with that is really good. And like seeing them listen so intently to what you have to say was quite. It's quite. I don't know. It kind of hit home really, because then the project had been conceptualized for so long, but then I had to see it actually happen and see the real people behind it. It was really good. And ServiceNow at that event as well, they were heavily involved with the project, so definitely a massive feel-good factor from that one.
Yeah, definitely think you're giving back to the community as well, working, earning your money at the same time, but also getting that experience within in that environment.
But also, it shows a chance that every project is not the same either. Everything is not ITSM. Bish bash bosh. We do the same kind of thing all the time. That's not the way it works. You get the opportunities with these little gems of projects that will pop up, and I hope to do many more like that. Really.
Good stuff. So James, obviously you were following the same path as Ethan is at the moment. You're not quite to that stage, but how do you feel about your progress and what you've done within FlyForm since you've been here?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel good about it. From the managed service, got a lot of months of experience in ServiceNow on that, learned a lot of things, and then started transitioning into projects a few months after, and got led by a few very good senior technical consultants who taught me a lot of things, and learned a lot since then. And now I'm starting to be on projects more and more, some quite important ones. And I really feel like I'm starting to develop as a professional, really.
Good. I think you make a really good point actually in terms of leaning on senior TCs within the company. So one thing like we pride ourselves on here is that everyone wants to help. So we got people of different abilities, different kind of at different levels within the progress in terms of the knowledge of ServiceNow. So we've got guys on the managed service team who are just cutting their teeth, if you like, and then we got guys who only got 4 or 5 years experience within ServiceNow, isn't it? And that's key to the growth of the guys within the FlyForm Academy, is leaning on these senior guys, and everyone's willing to help, and that's the way we push these people through. Leaning on people like senior TCs like Riz is kind of giving you extra kind of arrows to your bow, if you like.
Yeah, of course.
In terms of picking the brains of other people rather than just leaning on people in the managed service team. And myself, for example, just to guide you through getting the knowledge off these guys is really good. So yeah, I think that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, and even when you get that knowledge and teach that to other people, I think you learn more from that as well. And the even more junior people learn more from that too.
Yeah.
So everyone wins.
I'm totally with you there, because I see, for example, Josh, one of our current grads, if you like, our junior TCs, and I see the kind of progress he's made over the last few weeks since new guys have come in. So he's no longer the kind of the new guy in the team. He's kind of one of the experienced members, and everyone's leaning on him. I can see his confidence kind of shining through, and really, he's really picking up in terms of his development. So yes, it's a good example, and you're making really good points there. So you mentioned about the confidence and stuff it's given you within the role. I like to kind of like expand on that to a degree in terms of what you feel it's done for you as a person, in terms of where you were when you first joined FlyForm to where you are now, in terms of like, you know, your personal kind of development as well as just not just your technical development or your skills.
Yeah, well, for me, it's definitely changed my personal life, like, massively. If I compare it to who I was, you know, when I left uni to now, it's just it's night and day. I'm a completely different person, and for the better as well. You know, it's given me confidence where you have to have confidence, and you have to be, you know, kind of authoritative in what you know. You know, you are as a TC when you go to these clients, you are the source, right? You are the SME for the platform, and just being put in situations where you're engaging with different clients with different personalities, it does test you sometimes. Yeah. And like, you know, you're constantly overcoming those little tests, and you're just building yourself and becoming better and better person. And I just translate directly then into your personal life, because this job isn't just sitting behind a screen and coding, right? There's a massive people element to it as well. Whether it's on a managed service desk, and you start early when you're engaging with clients. You know, you got to cater to their needs, and you've got to be understanding. You've got to do remote sessions with them, all that kind of stuff, and then you move into project work where you've got to deliver requirements. You know, clients have expectations. You've got to manage those, or it's workshopping, and you've got to gather requirements. And you got, you know, sometimes you have to deal with some personalities in the room. You know, people who are set on things being one way, but they have to adapt to change, and you've got to kind of find the middle ground with that. And all those small things, they're so transferable into your day-to-day life, you know. And it's definitely given me more confidence. And I said on the panel we talked about earlier, so one of the questions was what is the best thing that's about your job, or what's come out of your job? And I said then it's how I've changed as a person in the real world. Yeah, the progress is massive. It's so much chance for opportunity to develop yourself and your professional career as well.
Yeah, good. I think with you, James, I've obviously seen it firsthand. With Ethan, I can't really speak because obviously you were before me, but with you, I've definitely seen it firsthand in terms of what the person you were like when I first joined, and then to where you are now. So yeah, do you want to talk about where you've come from?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've changed a lot.
Less angry?
Hey, obviously, university, you don't actually have that much people contact, so you go to the lectures, you go to exams, and then you go home. But when you're always talking to people on a day-to-day basis, whether it's clients or people in your company, you really do develop a lot as a person, whether it's your motivation or your confidence or how organized you are. And yeah, I just really say I came along quite well there.
Yeah, I think it's the same for me as well, really. I think where I come from is more of a tech background as well in terms of development, and I'm now kind of in a role where it's customer focused, and I have to speak to customers on a regular basis. So it's definitely challenged me. Yeah, and I think, you know, it's been tough on occasions too. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a few more grey hairs, yeah, a few more bags under my eyes, James. Yeah, so
can you get any more?
More bags or grey hairs? But yeah, I think it's been, like I said, it's been a testing time, but I've really enjoyed it. And I love like the job itself, and yeah, I think for me as a person, I've definitely grown in that respect.
I've noticed you've grown as well, to be honest.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What, height-wise? Or?
Oh. What height made there? No, but like if I compare you to what you were when you joined, you know.
Yeah, definitely, because I never had to deal with customers.
No.
And kind of be that front kind of like path, if you like, for them.
You found, you know, I wouldn't say you were that confident in dealing with customers when you first joined. And like having some of the conversations you got in terms of like your managed service and your agreements and all that, and
it was tough because it was new.
Yeah, it was new. Yeah,
how to approach it was hard. Yeah. What to say was kind of tough as well. So yeah,
and it's forming like a working relationship as well. Isn't it?
Well, yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that's stemmed from as well from you guys and what you've done in terms of how you helped me in terms of like it's a two-way thing. I obviously dictate the work that we do and delegate very well, James, don't I? Too much to your anger sometimes. Well. Yeah,
very
but yeah, I rely heavily on you guys to give me the information and stuff that I need to go back to customers with. And yeah, so it's a good kind of setup we got here.
Yeah.
Very good. So, okay, so let's move on to the kind of the future now of where you are in terms of you as in development, but also where you see this role going, kind of evolve into, and also just the FlyForm as well, in terms of where that's going to be in a couple of years' time. So what's your thoughts on that?
Which one?
Well, just take your pick.
Pick one.
Pick one. Let's go for the role itself.
All right.
Where do you see this grad, I say grad scheme, but it's a junior tech consultant scheme going? For me, I think as we grow, it opens up a host of like opportunities in terms of, I think in the past it's been quite structured in terms of a parallel path to a TC role itself. But as we kind of grow, like I said, we open up opportunities for people to become engagement managers, maybe some BAs, maybe as the managed service grows as well, we could potentially have people running the managed service, team leaders, for example. We could even have more, did I say PMs then? Did I say project managers?
Yeah.
EMs, could even be project manager roles, that kind of stuff. So, we don't want to pigeonhole people down the path of a TC, but if that's where they want to go, it's fine. But yeah, I think there's more opportunities.
I mean, I've had conversations with you and, my line manager now in terms of what I want to be, or, where I want to be and what role I want, whether it's, TC, EM, whether it's architect kind of role, it's all those ideas are constantly being floated about, and there's no pressure to decide which one you want to go.
It's not, and that's key. And I think
the options are there.
Options are there definitely, and by what you're learning within the role as well as a junior tech consultant, you are within workshops where you're dealing with engagement managers, you're dealing with BAs, and you're picking up those skills as well.
Exposure to all of it.
Exactly. So it gives you the opportunity to maybe diversify in your career, and if in the future you wanted to change, and I see that not being a problem, and I know FlyForm are really good in opportunities.
I know from my experience in attending my first workshop, and I know James had the same experience as well recently, just sitting there and realising and watching all the moving parts, whether there's a TC, a senior TC, a BA, a EM, and then EM feeding back to the, delivery leads or whatever, and, all seeing how all that operates together to deliver a project is like, it gives you so much more understanding and exposure of what the different roles are in IT, in whether it's service or delivery or not, and what is possible, and you might sit there one day and you think, okay, well, I reckon I could do some of that EM role, I can do some of that BA role, I reckon I could do all that. So like your curiosity is constantly piqued, and there's definitely no shortage of roles and responsibilities that you can take on. You're not confined to managed service, or you're not confined to being a TC. Do you agree?
Yeah, completely.
So
don't speak too much.
I have nothing else to say.
So how do you feel, James? Obviously, it's not almost a year now, isn't it? So you're on the verge of moving out into the big world of a TC. Is that exciting for you? I know that comes with some financial benefits as well, but the opportunities that's going to present to you is amazing for me. So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, certainly I'm excited about it. I'm chasing on the heels of Ethan here. I'm looking to lead some small projects myself, start to finish, be the main technical consultant on a project. At the moment, I'm more junior, under a senior. Obviously, has to keep an eye on me because I might make mistakes.
Childminder.
But as I make less mistakes and as I get more experienced, I'll get more opportunities to do more great things like Ethan has.
And you become more customer focused and chilled out and relaxed, yeah.
That too.
But it's not just that, it's opportunity as well.
Yeah, and that's massive. That's huge for me.
Once you get given the chances, and you get, I've always been all the chances I've had, right, I want to smash this, I want to nail this, I know everyone here has got the same mindset as well, and once you get the taste for delivering a project, doing the stories, seeing it through to completion, you're like, right, I want to do that again, when's the next one? And it's a really good feeling looking back on a project that's been delivered well. I know, and we're getting the 10s in all the time, and you think, right, I was a part of that delivery, and then when it gets called out on a team call, or you see, a go live post or wherever, and you see the customers are happy, it's like it's really, it's not rewarding, and I go home and cry, but it's how you measure your progress.
Yeah, it's a sense of satisfaction, isn't it? Of doing a good job.
Yeah.
I think that burns through the whole company in terms of managed service, for example. I know when I go to a service review, and the customer is giving us really good feedback and saying there's no issues and we're really happy with the service. That's a massive buzz for me.
Yeah.
And that satisfaction is there when I get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and that's what the company does present, isn't it? Is that opportunity to see things through to start to finish and do a good job. Yeah. So we're talking about what the future in terms of what excites us. We mentioned the role itself, but what about the company as well, and where that could go, potentially go in the next few years and beyond, with Phil and Aaron's dreams.
Yeah, I think very much the sky's the limit, isn't it, with this one? And it's a cliche. I don't like cliches, but it is true, and they do apply sometimes. But we keep going from strength to strength, and success is something funny, is it?
Stay on. The cliche thing, you were like explaining the cliche, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it's just true though. It's,
yeah, I get that.
I mean, you look how much you've grown in a year. Our year-on-year growth as a company. Whether it's money, wherever, size, client base, the kind of people we're engaging with, it is insane. The big names that we work with, it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, it does.
And to be able to put your name to those, my name or his name or your name to, working with those clients and having a rapport with them, it's massive. And it goes on your CV, it goes on your LinkedIn, wherever. That's building your professional portfolio then, and you get a massive opportunity to do that here. And yeah, I mean, FlyForm as a company and a brand, when I joined it, there was no really brand. I know, we've got. Lovely bottles.
Thanks to Johnny and his great marketing skills.
Yeah, that bottle, nice cold water. But I mean,
loves an agenda.
It's now a name that people recognise, right? And when I went to that event I mentioned earlier, we chatted to another consultant from a different company, and they instantly recognised the name based off our dress code and now at work.
Yeah,
and our stand, and that shows that we're in good standing, right? And that progress is in a year or less than a year, even, right?
Growth is amazing.
So imagine what happens in 2 years, in 3 years.
How fast we've grown is amazing.
Exactly.
And I can take that back to a personal level in terms of managed service.
Yeah.
And how big that's grown.
Oh yeah.
Within a year, we got
how big our team's grown in a year.
Lots more contracts in place. We got more coming in, and that really excites me because that means more people, and therefore giving more opportunities to the people in South Wales, bringing them in, obviously training them up like you guys have done, pushing them through then into more project work, into more kind of development work, if you like, more technical consultant work, etc. So that's what really excites me. I've just mentioned about the fact that we can hopefully expanding the managed service team and then bringing more people in. So for people who are thinking about joining FlyForm or would like to apply to join FlyForm, what would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
If you want to join a company that has good values, that's a fun place to work, and you'll definitely have, a bright career ahead of you and the opportunity to do many things. You're not just, like I said earlier, you're not pigeonholed to one sector, to one role. I was apprehensive really myself, joining IT. I was like, I didn't really know much about it, but the things that you can do, and it will exceed it'll definitely exceed your expectations. So just give it a go. You, James? Speaking from the heart.
Yeah, so when I was looking for jobs, I was just searching for anything to do with JavaScript, and I heard about this ServiceNow thing, and I was like, I don't really know what it is. So I did a lot of research, and I was just thinking, what is this? And I was like, eventually, hey, I'll give it a go, and not look back since. It's been really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think a key point for me is not to be put off with that job description. Yeah, we want technically minded people and people who got a passion for IT and love to learn. But what we are looking for as a company is a spark, isn't it, for that that person who got that drive, got that ambition to progress. Somebody who can fit into the team, who's going to be really, a really good asset in terms of hard working as well. So, yeah, that for me is what I would like to look for.
People are our greatest asset, right?
Definitely.
It's not who knows the most. It's not I'm a better bloody coder than you or whatever. It's not about that. It's about people, who you are as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
And nurturing that.
Yeah, because those technical skills you can
learn that.
Yeah, you've got a really good training program in terms of not just on the job training, but we've got the ServiceNow training schemes which offer numerous courses and numerous opportunities to get your skills up to scratch. But it's having that desire
But
to want to be able to learn those skills.
Phil and Aaron's mission statements really, as people, you know, excluding FlyForm, are to bring out the best in people, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And to nurture them and to make them realize their potential, that you're capable of so much more than you may think, you know. And obviously, when you go from university, you might be low on confidence, or you might have a few job rejections, like I did, and like, okay, what's next? And then having people like Phil and Aaron and the rest, and all the other people, you know, at FlyForm, just to give you the belief that you can do things. Is
that support network, and that family network of everyone just backing each other.
Can't put a price on that, really. It really is. Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah,
really good.